Okay, moving right along to page 2. Your pieces you will need to cut. Your A piece will be 6 3/4 across by 10 5/8. Your B piece will be 6 3/4 across by 9 1/2 inches. You will need 2 C pieces, and they measure 6 1/8 across by 6 3/4 inches. You'll need 3 D pieces. They measure 4 1/4 by 6 3/4, 3 of those. And you will need 3 E pieces. They measure 4 3/4 by 6 1/8. Okay, so those are the pieces. Get those all cut out. Grab your scoreboard. Oh, hello. Are you back? Of course you're back. Anybody else have crafting kitties that won't leave them alone? Alright, so your A piece, we are going to put it on your scoreboard on the 6 3/4 inch side. Is at the top. Buddy, almost got to work. And we will score it at half. So half on the 6 3/4 inch side. Then we are going to rotate it a quarter turn. That 1/2 inch section that you just scored is at the top, and we're going to score again at half and 10 1/8 on the 10 5/8 side. Okay, so it looks like that. That's your A piece. Your B piece will be scored at half and 5/8 on the 6 3/4 inch side. So half, and the next tick over 5/8. Okay, that's your B piece. Both C pieces will be scored at half and 5/8 on the 6 3/4 inch side. Oops. Half and 5/8 on the 6 3/4 inch side. Okay, your D pieces, all 3 of them, will be scored at half on the 6 3/4 inch side again. There's 1. 2 and 3. And then your E pieces will be scored at half on the 4 3/4 inch side. So all 3 of the E's. So 4 3/4 at the top and score at half. And the last one. Excellent. Now we can put our scoreboard away. Hey, my apologies. I didn't realize that my camera had run out of memory while I was recording. All you missed, though, was me adding score tape to all of the 1/2 inch sections of every piece. So if you haven't done that already, add your score tape to all of the 1/2 inch sections on each of the pieces, and then we will miter the corners. So I've started on piece A. So piece A, we've got the area where the score lines meet. So go in at an angle and out at an angle with those ones. And then all the rest of them are just basic mitering. So when you have the little gusset, the 2 score lines, the 1/2 inch and 5/8 of an inch. Make sure you only go to the 1/2 inch score line. Don't cut into the 5/8 score line. I just woke up. I haven't had quite enough coffee yet, so the first bit of this video might be me trying to find my words until the caffeine kicks in. So we'll just keep mitering all the corners. There's nothing funky in the mitering on this one, just straight up. So just taking off a little bit at an angle from the score line to the edge of the page, edge of the piece. Okay, almost done. And the last one. Okay, let's get all these biddies out of the way. Bye-bye biddies. Alright, and now we will crease and fold every one of those score lines. Use your bone folder. I might do some of this off camera because there's a lot of score lines to fold and crease, and you can do that without my assistance. For the pieces that have the double score line there, just make sure you really crease each one of them well. I know it's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get that second score line, but it definitely makes a difference in the way the page functions. Okay, so I'm going to finish doing the rest of them off camera, and we'll be right back. Okay, once you have all of those folded and creased, your A piece, we'll start with it, obviously, and it is going to be a pocket. So the way I like to do pockets is to remove the tape backing from the 2 sides first, and then fold up the bottom so that it adheres to the sides just at the corners. Okay, now I do this because this ensures a really smooth entry for the tags that are going in. If you put the bottom down and then the sides over top of it, sometimes the tag that you're putting in here will catch on that bottom lip, but this way there's a smooth channel. Alright, so next, so we just finished with one. Flip that over, and we are going to adhere piece A right to the bottom of the base page. Well, hello. As soon as I start filming, you just have to make an appearance, don't you? You're such a star. Hi, Zuri. Okay, so your A piece right on the bottom. Buddy, come on. Oh, you don't need to be in the camera. I know. This is Zuri, everyone. Look up. There he is. There's the handsome guy. Hey? I know. Mommy's got to work. He only seems to come when the camera's on. He really likes to be in camera. Okay, your piece B is going to go right on to the top of A. Okay, so sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to get right over top of it so I make sure it's straight. Okay, and then Alright, so there is your piece B on top of the A pocket. Alright, and now your C pieces are going to go on the right and left edges of your B piece. And they're going to overlap each other. Okay, so there's one, the other one on the other side. Okay, so there are your two C's. Okay, and now your D pieces are going to make, they're going to be a horizontal waterfall onto your B piece. We're going to center it top to bottom. You can measure exact if you want. I'm going to eyeball it because it's what I do. But please feel free if you want it to be absolutely exact. So it's going on the far edge right next to the score line. Okay, so that is your first D piece right there. Your second D piece is going to butt up against the first one. So you've got this 1/2 inch section from your first D piece. The second D piece is going to go right up against the 1/2 inch section of the first one. Close them to make sure you've got them even. Okay, and then the third one is going to do the same thing and go right up against the 1/2 inch section of the second one. Okay, so there you go. Oh, I'm a tiny bit off on that one. That's alright. Alright, so it will look like that. And then open. So there's 1, 2, 3. Alright, and now your E pieces are going to go on the right side, sorry, left side of your B piece, and they're going to also do a waterfall. But this time vertically. Okay, so your first one goes right up against that 1/2 inch, or the score mark right over here. Okay, so there's one. Your second one goes right up against the 1/2 inch section of the first. And your third one does the same thing. Okay, and now I have them folded so that I go one of the vertical, one horizontal, one vertical, one horizontal, vertical, horizontal. You don't have to necessarily do it that way. You can do it however, you fold it however you desire. Now I'm just going to add some magnets. So I'm going to do one set of magnets from this first D piece to the first E piece. and I'm going to put 2 sets. Sorry, that's someone texting me. My minions noise, it makes me happy. Okay, so 2 sets of magnets. And some more score tape. Alright, and then fold that up. So there, that is now magnetized. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with the C pieces. So 2 magnets on the C to the other C. Now, again, your choice. You can have left over right or right over left. I'm going to go right over left like I did here. Make sure you put your magnets so that there is space all around them for your pattern paper. Okay, one more piece. Okay, so close that up. There we go. Now you might also want to add magnets going from the B piece down to the A. Or you could use a different closure if you'd prefer. You could do a ribbon closure there. Or what else could you do? Actually, I think the magnets kind of work best. I like the magnets. I just want you to feel free to be creative and do your own thing. If you don't feel like putting magnets in a spot, you don't have to. There's no hard, fast rules in my album. Well, no, that's not true. There are a few that have to be followed, but for the most part, I want you to, you know, make your album your own, and if you have a whim, follow it. I'm all about whim following. Okay, there we go. That was a super easy page. Page 2, easy peasy. I'm going to get some of my pattern paper on, and then I'll come back and do some of it with you. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I'll show you what I have so far. I ended up changing the magnets on the C pieces just because I wanted to use this piece with this steampunk girl, and I just preferred her to have, I don't know, more of the page. I don't know, I just liked it better. Once I had the paper there, I liked it better having the left over the right, so I just switched the magnets instead of the right over the left. Anyway, okay. So I've got these 2 pieces here. You open it up, and I've got some of this blue. This is from the Ice Cave collection, I believe. And then some gear paper here. I believe that is from the Steam Time collection. And then you open it up. I'm going to leave all of these blank. Just because they're perfect for 4x6 photos, and if you can get away with not putting paper on, because you're not going to see most of this, right? And so I want to leave it blank, so it'll be just pictures. Now in between the waterfall pieces, so there's that 1/2 inch section, so I've decorated the 1/2 inch section. I'm going to do the same over here, just because I like the way it looks. You could also put a little bit, a 1/2 inch strip of paper on these areas, so that when it's closed, there's paper here and here. I'm not going to do that, but that's another option for you. All right, so I'm just going to put these 2 strips down, and then in the center is that same paper. So I'm actually going to put the center down first, and then I'll know where to line these up. Okay. Oh, I don't think I inked this edge. Okay, so we'll put this one down. And now, unfortunately, I have a little, when I'm creating my pages, I often make numbers and marks just so I know for future where everything's going as I'm writing the tutorial. But I think I might actually keep this album, so I'm not going to cover that up. I'll cover it up with a picture later. Okay, so now we can line up these pieces. Awesome, there we go. Sorry, my voice cracked there. Like that. Excellent, and now we'll just put the piece in the pocket. So I've got it going in about 3/4 of an inch. Now the pocket pieces can be tricky because sometimes they want to stick down before you want them to stick down, so I kind of try and hold it above the paper until I know it's in the right spot, and then let everything adhere down. Oh, and it's still a tiny bit crooked. Can I move it? Yeah, there we go. Awesome. There we go. So that is page 2. Oh, and I put a tiny little ribbon pull on this one, just because when I switched the C pieces, these were coming quite close, so I just wanted something to lift up C without pulling up the D piece with it. You don't have to do that, just a little extra thing. Alright, so that is page 2. I'm probably going to embellish it a little bit further later on, but for now, it is good to go. And now we can get our pieces ready for page 3. Okay, so page 3. Your first piece will be, let's get some of this out of the way here. There. Your first piece will be 7.5 by 7.5. It's a square. Your B piece will be 5.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Your D piece will be 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Your E is 7.5 inches by 11 inches. And your E piece will be a hinge, and it is 1 inch across, 7.5 inches down. Alright, so those are your pieces. Get your scoreboard out. Alright, we're going to score A at 1/2 inch. You can put it in the scoreboard on either side because it's a square. So whichever side you choose. This one looks good to me. So 1/2 inch. And that's it. And then piece B, we are going to score it at 1/2 on the 5.5 inch side. And then we are going to rotate it we're going to score it at 1/2 and at 5 on the 5.5 inch side. Because it's a pocket. And then we're going to rotate it, 1/4 turn. So now it's on the 6.5 inch side, and we're going to score again at 1/2. Okay, so it's got 3 score lines there. That's your B. Your C piece will be scored at 1/2 on the 6.5 inch side. And your D piece will be scored at 2, so put it on the 11 inch side. So score at 2 and 6 5/8. So if you're not sure about the whole 5/8, 3/8, etc., just go to the 6 and then count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 6 5/8. Alright, and that's it for D. And your E piece will be a hinge, so we're going to score it down the center at 1/2. Okay, and that's it for scoring. Piece 3 is also a fairly simple page. So you're getting 2 somewhat simple pages in a row, and then we'll get into some crazy stuff. If you ever feel like a page is too simple, you can always create something funky to go in a pocket or something like that. I try to make my tutorials so that not every page is so crazy and elaborate that I want to make sure that even a beginner scrapbooker can create my tutorials. So I don't want to get too crazy, but I want there to be some, you know, cool tricks in there. So the D piece does not get any score tape. There's no 1/2 inch sections. The E piece, put score tape on both sides of that score line. And then the other ones are quite simple. Score tape on all 3 edges of B. Making sure not to put score tape over, like on top of the score line. Make sure there's a space between the score tape and the score line itself. Awesome. Now we will miter our corners. Okay, so nothing too crazy on this one either. There's A. Or B, because it has intersecting lines on B, we're going to do that in at an angle, out at an angle. So in until they connect, out at an angle. D does not need to be scored. My hinges, I tend to crease them first and then miter the corners, just that way they're even. Okay, so it looks like that. Alright, get the biddies out of the way. Bye-bye biddies. And grab your next base page and we'll start putting it all together. So next base page, the Tyvek covered sections are on the left-hand side. And we're going to start by putting the A piece. Let's get these back in order. Oh, we haven't creased yet. We need to fold and crease things. Oh, I guess I'm doing it as I go. Okay, so your A piece is going to go on the left-hand side of the base page. And mine, for some reason, is a titch long. Weird. Okay, somehow I'm just going to trim a tiny bit off. Somehow, like a couple millimeters off, but it's going to bug me. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so there is your A piece. And open up A. Your B piece is going to be a pocket, so we're going to do the sides first. And remove the backing. Oh, is anybody yelling at me right now because I'm not using my bone folder? I think I told you to yell at me if I was not using my bone folder. I'm sure someone is. I'm sure someone's following the rules. Okay, and we're going to put the B piece on the bottom left of the base page. Okay, so just right there. All right, the C piece is going to go, as it's going to be a closure for that pocket, so we're going to put it at the top left of the base page, even with that pocket. Okay, there we go. Alright, now we are going to put the E hinge on the right hand side of the base page. So you're going to adhere it so that the opening of the hinge is facing inwards. Okay, so here's the opening and it's facing in. Alright, there we go. Bring it up so you can see it a little better. And now we are going to fold the D piece, and I'm going to use my bone folder. And the D piece is going to go on that other half of the hinge. So adhere it so that this little flap is on the left hand side. So adhere it just like that. Okay. Alright, so it's folded like this, and it's going to go right on top of that hinge. You can always do it this way too, so that like kind of line it up here and then fold the hinge over. You could do that, or however, whatever way is easiest for you to get it on there. Okay, so now there's our D piece attached to that hinge. And we're going to close it so that A goes over the BC and then the D part goes over the A. Alright, so pretty simple. You can add extra bits and pieces if you so desire. Now we're going to add some magnets. So I'm going to put magnets going from the D flap to the rest of D. That's 3, don't need 3. Wish you could see Zuri right now. He is very contented, all curled up right behind me. He got tired of the limelight. Now he's contented and all sweetly curled up. Not sure where his brother is. His brother's usually in here too, but you just don't see him as much. He's not as much of a camera hog. Alright, so we're also going to put some a magnet going from the back of D to the front of E. You can choose to do 1 or 2. I think I'm going to do 2 sets. Just because I've been kind of doing 2 sets most of places. I like things to really stay in place. I don't like things to flop around. And especially when you have this many components moving, I like things to really stay put until you want them to do something else. Okay, so that's that. And then we'll also put one on the C flap going over the pocket. Am I a little bit crooked here? A titch. It's okay, I can deal with it. All right. Alright, perfect. So this is the end of construction for page 3. I think the rest of the pages are a little bit more complex. This is the only other one that's slightly simple, so get ready. But it's still, once it's all decorated, it still has quite an effect. So I'm going to get some of my pieces ready, and we will go from there. Okay, so I've got a couple pieces on. You know how I like my pages to match, so I just used that same piece of paper that had the steampunk girl over here, and I just took a different part of the paper and put it there. So if you want to see, so there's the girl there, I just cut it a different way. If you'd like to do it exactly like me, you're welcome to pause the video and kind of see what I've done. I'm actually really surprised at myself because I was so excited to get the Stamperia, what is it, Voyages paper pack, and I love the papers, and then when I started getting my pieces ready for decorating, it was weird. I ended up not even really using them. I'm gonna have to use them in another project because they're absolutely gorgeous, but I kind of just got all into this realm, and I really liked it, so I went with it. So I'm going to leave that blank for a picture or journaling or whatever, and I'm just going to put this down here and that there, kind of matching what happened on the inside of the previous page. I try to make them match without them being too similar. Okay, so that's what's happening on the inside of that. And then on the inside of this part, okay, so again, the same kind of paper color scheme, and I like to alternate them if I can. So over here I've got this, I use this in the other, the second page as well, just a different part of it. One of the things I really like about digital downloads is that I tend to print out, oh, I'm almost out of tape here. I tend to print out one set in 8.5 by 11, and then I try and print out another set a little bit bigger or smaller or like a different size, so I can use the same paper, but it will look different because of the different like aspect ratio. I think I have enough. I'm gonna put, I didn't have this piece of paper, I wanted to use it, but it wasn't quite long enough, so I'm doing one strip of the green flower kind of paper. And that was it from my tape runner. I'm gonna get some more tape. Okay. Put this one down right on the edge. Tape runner is arguing with me. Do not argue. I will win. I say that I'll win, but I think my it's probably had its fair share of wins where I've gotten completely frustrated and lost it a little bit. Okay, so final piece. Awesome. Oh, and then in the pocket part there. Alright, so that's what everything looks like. And there it is. There is your page 3. So beside page 2, that's what they look like together. I'm going to embellish them a little bit more later on. But for now, we will get our pieces ready for page 4.